You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Now we have news today that Senator Bernie Sanders has been notified by intelligence officials that Russia is trying to impact the election to help Bernie Sanders because they want him to oppose Donald Trump in November. Here's a statement that Bernie Sanders released, quote, "Unlike Donald Trump, I do not consider Vladimir Putin a good friend. He is an autocratic thug who has attempted to destroy democracy and crush dissent in Russia. Let's be clear. The Russians want to undermine American democracy by dividing us up, and unlike the current president, I stand firmly against their efforts and any other foreign power that wants to interfere in our election. I don't care, frankly, who Putin wants to be president. My message to Putin is clear. Stay out of American elections, and as president, I will make sure that you do." In 2016, Russia used internet propaganda to sow division in our country, and my understanding is that they are doing it again in 2020. Some of the ugly stuff on the internet attributed to our campaign may well not be coming from real supporters. In my view, because of our extraordinary grassroots organization, because of our grassroots fundraising, and because of our agenda that speaks to the needs of working class people, we are the strongest campaign to defeat Donald Trump, and that is exactly what we will try to do. Joining us right now is Cliff Albright. He is, of course, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Cliff, how you doing?
Roland, how you doing?
First off, I got to get your reaction to that statement. The fact that the Russians, they are trying to impact 2020 again. Donald Trump refuses to acknowledge they were trying to impact or did impact 2016. But the fact that that Russia is trying to back Bernie Sanders to go up against Trump in 2020, does that mean that they believe that Trump has a better shot at beating the Democrats if Bernie Sanders is the nominee?
Yeah, I think it could mean a bunch of things, right? I think definitely one possibility is that they believe that he has a better chance of beating Bernie. They might even know that they've got some information. We know that there's been rumors of all types of opposition research on Bernie that's never really been fully vetted. One, because he's never been in the general for the presidential. He was in a primary, and it's never really been unleashed in the primaries because nobody wants to really attack and alienate his voters. So that's one theory. Another theory is that they want to support him at least to wind up getting the most delegates. So that it creates this situation, which you saw that was really addressed during the last debate, right? This question of what happens if Bernie goes and has the most delegates, but then there's a type of brokered convention, right? And so what they may be wanting to do is to create that kind of situation where it's a brokered convention, because they know that in such a scenario, it's gonna tear apart the Democratic Party. A lot of Bernie's base will go away. They'll stay at home. They won't come out. And that way, Trump gets the win. So whether they want him to be the candidate or whether they want him to just be the Democrat with the most delegates going into the convention, either way, it's not a good sign that they're doing the same thing that we know that they did 4 years ago, which is playing around and putting out misinformation. And a lot of that misinformation is targeted towards progressive voters and even towards black voters. Roland, we know that they targeted black voters with all kinds of disinformation, especially going after younger black voters, right? And so at the end of the day, there ain't nothing good going to come out of this, especially when you got a president or man in the White House, right, who's not really trying to do anything, and in fact is actively working against having any kind of real election protection.
Pam, I want to talk to you about this here. What do you make of Russians wanting to boost Senator Sanders to oppose Trump? What does that say about do they think that Sanders is going to be easy for Trump to beat?
I think the Russians should be careful about what they ask for, because they don't understand the kind of energy that Bernie Sanders is bringing to this race, and they really don't know how young voters are going to behave. They bank on historic data that says young people can be energetic but not actually vote, and what Bernie Sanders is doing is actually getting them to vote, which is why he is a front runner. He's running on a coalition, a broad coalition, but a coalition driven by the young. I actually agree with our colleagues, all the ones who have spoken here tonight. To me, Elizabeth Warren is is the strongest candidate on so many different levels, not the least of which is that for her, racial justice is not a talking point or something to talk about in a silo, but it's something that permeates every aspect of policy and all of her plans that she comes to. She's always looking at the systemic racism, at the systemic sexism that has played a part in every institution in our country. And this is why I have so much faith in her judgment and her leadership. But my opinion aside, the person who's really garnering a whole lot of energy is Bernie Sanders. And the theory is that Donald Trump will successfully paint Bernie as a Sanders and ergo Donald will win. Well, maybe he will and maybe he won't. Because at the end of the day, I actually would rather convince centrists and moderates to vote for Bernie than to try to convince Bernie's supporters to vote for Michael Bloomberg. That, to me, is a much heavier lift.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Are you looking to enhance your leadership or that of your team in 2020? Join our newest online course and mastermind group, How Successful People Think. Dr. Jackie Hood Martin will be your guide as you learn timeless leadership principles to apply to daily living. The offer expires February 28th. To register or start the online course, go to www.live2lead.com/Leesburg, www.live2lead.com/Leesburg.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.